Venus is one of the most unusual and interesting planets in the solar system. It is special in almost every aspect, the brightest in the sky and the hottest among all the planets. It hides its surface behind a dense and harsh atmosphere. There are no seasons here, and the day lasts longer than the year. Venus is an amazing planet. Venus is the third brightest object in the sky after the Moon and the Sun. Its brightness is a result of its close proximity to both Earth and the Sun, along with its large size and highly reflective surface. Venus is much hotter than Mercury, despite being the second planet from the Sun and farther from it than Mercury. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system, primarily due to its carbon dioxide atmosphere, which traps heat and creates a greenhouse effect. A very clear difference. The average temperature on Venus is 464 degrees Celsius, and on Mercury 167. The clouds on Venus reflect and scatter about 90% of the sunlight back into space. Although Venus is closer to the Sun, it receives less sunlight on its ground compared to Earth. It prevents observing the planet's surface visually. The upper atmosphere of Venus rotates up to 60 times faster than the planet. Strong 300 kilometers per hour winds at the cloud tops go around Venus about every 4 Earth days. For comparison, the fastest winds on Earth have a maximum speed of 20% of the planet's rotational speed. Venus has a thick atmosphere composed of 96.5% carbon dioxide, with most of the remaining 3.5% being nitrogen, which creates the strongest greenhouse effect in the solar system. Conditions on the Venusian surface differ radically from those on Earth. On Venus, a day is longer than a year. One day lasts 243 Earth days out there, while 1 year lasts only 225 Earth days. So it is faster for Venus to orbit the Sun than to rotate about its axis. Despite its slow rotation, the temperature of Venus's surface does not vary significantly between the planet's two hemispheres, those facing and not facing the Sun. This is due to heat transfer by lower atmosphere winds. Venus is sometimes referred to as Earth's evil twin due to its similar size and proximity to Earth, but its extremely harsh conditions, including a poisonous atmosphere, high pressure, and surface temperatures hot enough to melt a spacecraft. At the surface of Venus, the crushing atmospheric pressure is about 93 times greater than that at the surface of Earth. This is equivalent to the pressure at a depth of nearly 1 kilometer under Earth's oceans. Venus has the closest orbit to Earth of any other planet in the solar system, resulting in the lowest gravitational potential difference between the two planets. This makes Venus the most accessible destination and gravity-assist waypoint for interplanetary missions. Venus was the target of the first interplanetary flight in human history. While Venus approaches Earth the closest, Mercury is more frequently the closest to Earth of all planets. In other words, Mercury is closer to Earth on average than Venus. Further, Mercury is the closest neighbor on average to each of the other 7 planets in the solar system. The equator of Venus rotates at a speed of only 6.5 kilometers per hour, whereas Earth's equator rotates at 1674 kilometers per hour. The difference in speed is almost 257 times. Just try to think about this huge difference. Venus has the slowest rotation of any planet in the solar system. For this reason, Venus is more nearly spherical than most planets. Fast rotation tends to bulge planets at the equator and flatten at the poles. Venus rotates in a retrograde direction, meaning against its orbital motion, causing the Sun to rise in the west and set in the east. Unlike most planets that rotate in an anti-clockwise direction, Venus rotates clockwise. Venus lacks seasons due to its small axial tilt of less than 3 degrees, resulting in minimal temperature variations throughout a Venus year. In comparison, Earth has a tilt of 23 degrees, allowing us to experience distinct seasons. The first spacecraft to land on Venus was Venera 7. On the 15th of December 1970, the Soviet spacecraft became the first to soft land on another planet, and the first to transmit data from Venus back to Earth. To reach the surface, a strong design was needed to withstand the harsh conditions of the atmosphere. The surface pressure on Venus is about 93 atmospheres. This destroyed the first Soviet landers that were sent there for research. The extremely high temperature and pressure melted and crushed the landers. The surface of Venus is impossible to view from the Earth, even with the most powerful telescopes. It's all about an opaque layer of highly reflective clouds of sulfuric acid covering the entire planet. So despite the planet's proximity to us, it is quite challenging to study. That's where we need some real tanks. Well, scientific tanks, of course. Subscribe and join our platform. Here you can find all of these and even more interesting facts and quizzes.